Salutations, fam. This is Dark Slayer Arim from How Tested Gaming, and in today's video, I'm going to be doing one of the more lecture style ones. I'm going to be talking about deck building. And one of the common, very common deck building pitfalls I see across like many different skill levels across the game, and that is the deck building pitfall of standardization. Basically, the premise of this pitfall is that people will play cards and play things because that's what has been played, because it's quote unquote standard. People will not, actually build the deck from scratch. They won't actually like do the actual evaluation of individual card choices. They will just play what's standard and then build on top of that. For example, with Blue Eyes, this is kind of what standard looks like. Triple Blue Eyes, triple alternative, triple sage, triple ancients, the Stone of Legend, stuff like this. This is what standard Blue Eyes looks like, and this is based off of the, for the lists from how, what the deck looked like when it went to Worlds, when it, won the World Championship. This is what standard Blue Eyes is based off of. The idea behind it and why people fall into this pitfall is because usually these are the lists that topped the events. But you have to understand that just because a list topped or just because a card choice topped doesn't mean that it's the most optimal thing to be playing, the most optimal card choice. The reality is that what is optimal changes format to format, event to event. And also, I just kind of want to talk about this deck specifically because the thing about it is that what's this idea of following this kind of standardization, it doesn't really work anymore because the game is just not the same as it was, well, almost 6 years ago at this point. Yeah, so I kind of want to address some of the weaknesses of this kind of standardization, why I don't agree with some of these choices, and I also want to kind of go about how you would make the changes to kind of address it. So, two things, but yeah, we'll go over it. So to start off, card choices. So there is this common idea that certain people will play certain cards because this is what is standard, this is what they see in the list that they looked up. For example, triple skill drain, for example. In regards to picking a card for your deck, you don't want to just look at how good the card is in a vacuum, because a good example would be infinite impermanence. The idea is that I don't know what I just did, but the idea is that when you're choosing between whether or not you should play infinite impermanence or effect veiler, the idea is that infinite impermanence is just a significantly better card and that you should always play imperm over veiler if you have imperm. But in this deck specifically, you would actually want to play effect veiler because in this deck you have more things you can do with effect veiler compared to infinite impermanence. When you're choosing a card for your deck, you don't want to look at how good the card is. You want to look at how good the card is in your deck. That is the thing you want to be focusing on. How good is this card specifically in my deck? And in this deck, in Blue Eyes, you wouldn't play Impermanence, you would play Veiler, because in addition to being that hand trap you can use on your opponent's turn, it is also a card that you can search off of Sage. It is also a level 1 light tuner that you can use to go into your synchro plays. You can use it as part of your engine. And that's, that's something that's very relevant in regards to the context of this deck specifically. Moving on, I want to talk about some card choices that are also very common in the deck that if you've watched a lot of my recent profiles, you'll notice I don't play a lot of these cards in my list. Like trade-in, cards of consonants, Return of the Dragon Lord, Silver's Cry, Skill Drain. You'll notice I don't play a lot of these cards. Um, oh, and Nebula Dragon. That's another big one that's like very, very common that you'll notice I don't really play. So one of the weakness of the Blue Eyes deck that, well, I say weakness, but it's one of the quote unquote weaknesses because this isn't actually a weakness that the Blue Eye strategy has. It's just a weakness of this kind of deck building. Um, so one of the common things I hear about Blue Eyes is that if you ash them, they just kind of pass turn, which I always found really weird. But in my like the thing I realized later on was that like I wasn't building my deck like this. The reason why like a lot of times you'll be able to like ash a Blue Eyes player and they pass turn is because they're playing an overabundance of extenders, and that's normally a good thing. But the thing about the specific extenders that you play that are being played in most Blue Eyes decks is that they are purely extenders. The thing about these type of extenders like Trade In, Cards of Consonance, Return of the Dragon Lords, is that they require a specific condition, and also Nebula Dragon. They require a specific kind of game state to already be happening. They require you to be in a specific scenario. So let's give an example of like a sample hand, right? So let's say the hand is Sage with Eyes of Blue, Trade In, Cards of Consonance, Return of the Dragon Lords, 1-for-1. Most people would think, yes, this hand is absolutely insane. You're going to pop off really, really hard, right? Right. But here's the reality of what ends up happening. I go normal summon Sage with Eyes of Blue, and then they ash me here. The problem with these kinds of extenders is that now the rest of my hand doesn't do anything. I had all of these extenders where if this Sage went through, I was going to extend really far and end on this really, really big board. But because they ashed this Sage, I don't have the ability to get my engine started. Once you get started, these cards become very, very powerful because, you'll notice a lack of a once per turn on any of these cards. And that's one of the things about Blue Eyes is that because of these types of extenders, once you get playing, you get to make some pretty crazy boards and you get to do some pretty crazy things. But because these require a specific game state to be met, you end up in this situation where they asked your Sage and now you just have to pass turn on nothing. Now, in comparison, what cards do I play instead? So rather than showcase my build and just say, oh, build it like me, I'm going to showcase instead, cards you could play instead, things that, I'm going to showcase like 1-for-1 changes that you could potentially make. So like in this scenario, because I got, ashed, the Trade-In was dead, the Cards of Consonance was dead, the Return of the Dragon Lords was dead. That's because this requires you to have a level 8 in hand. This requires you to have a, one of the stones in hand. And this requires there to be a dragon in the graveyard. And this requires like another monster to be in your hand. And you might be thinking like in regards to Trade-In, like, but you have so many level 8s in your deck, so this should pretty much always be live. But the thing about a card like Trade-In is that the better this card is in your deck, the worse your deck ends up being. Because you might be thinking, oh, Trade-In is really good, you draw 2 cards all the time. But what happens when you don't draw Trade-In? If you are building your deck so that this is always live, you're just increasing the chance that you're going to brick on this stuff instead. This doesn't reduce your bricks. This just changes the kind of bricks that you get. So now you're having bricks where you have a Trade-In with no dragon to pitch. You're having bricks where you have these but no Trade-In. You're having bricks where you have a Cards of Consonance with no stone. So what do I like to play instead? So I'm going to make some very slight changes. Well, first off, because you play Trade-In to fix the problem of drawing too many dragons. Well, instead of doing that, you can just cut down on the number of dragons. You'll notice that in a lot of my lists, rather than playing, what is this, 1, 2, 3, this is like 11 dragons, I think. Right? Rather than playing this high number of dragons, I cut it down. So I'm playing significantly less of them. Okay? Because I'm playing less of them, I have less of a chance to open them and brick on them. Right? Now, let's look at some of these extenders that we're playing. You look at a card like Nebula Dragon. You play this for the same reason that you play Trade-In. But the funny thing, the better this card is, the worse your build is, because you're breaking on this stuff now. But then, if you do this, so it's like, okay, I'm drawing less, level 8 dragons. Well, guess what? Now Trade-In is worse. Now Nebula Dragon's worse. So what are some cards that I find myself playing instead of these? Well, instead of Nebula Dragon, because Nebula Dragon, at its core, it's a extender that you play to help yourself make rank 8s, similarly to Return of the Dragon Lords. So let's cut these cards and replace them with Astral Karibo. This is a extender that you can play that helps you make access to rank 8s, but here's the thing about Astral Karibo. Astral Karibo does not have a specific game state where you can activate this. You can just activate this at any point and get a level 8 extender onto the board that you can use to go into your rank 8 pool. Let's look at what else was there. Oh, there's Dangers. Okay, so typically I play 3 Bigfoot, 3 Thunderbird, right? So now, stop that. How am I doing that actually? I don't know how I'm doing that. But so now we have 9 cards in our deck that if we get ashed on that Sage and we had an Astral Karibo, we can still use this Astral Karibo. If I got ashed on the Sage, this Bigfoot is still live. This Thunderbird is still live. If they ash my Sage, I can just summon these monsters and keep playing. With Trade-In, and so like Trade-In, for example, in Cards of Consonance, right? We play a lot of discarding cards to be able to trigger, like our stones and like trigger the dangers and things like that. But instead of Trade-In, I play Dragon Ravine. So the thing about Dragon Ravine is that this card, similarly, is just kind of always live. At any point during my turn, I can just activate a Dragon Ravine and continue playing. At any point, I can activate a Dragon Ravine and discard one of the cards in my hand in order to get value. I can discard and, foolish one of these to the grave in order to get value. So Dragon Ravine over Trade-In, actually, if you were playing Return of the Dragon Lords, here we go, right? If you're playing this significantly more consistently will allow you to get your stuff live, because now, instead of having to specifically have Blue Eyes engraved for Trade-In to make this live, or specifically having to have a stone for Cards of Consonance, this can kind of put whatever you want in your graveyard at any given point. But yeah, going on to like some other card choices of things that I like to play in this deck. So instead of Cards of Consonance, I usually am playing a card like Chaos Space. Stop that. I'm not adding anything to my favorite cards. So Chaos Space is actually exceptional in the Blue Eyes deck because you have quite a few things that you can search off of it, actually. So let's say we get rid of these cards, right? Although, again, we want to have as many cards live as possible. Let's get rid of you. Put in more stuff for Chaos Space, right? Come on, Brain. So there's Cosmo Brain. There is Chaos Emperor. And there is Chaos Creator. Right? Now, the thing is, well, and there's also the baby dragons. Just do this. Collapse Serpent and Wyvern Barrister, right? There's also these cards, right? So the thing about it is that a lot of people don't play Chaos Space because they feel as though they have to play this. You don't actually have to play these. You can just play 3 Chaos Space. You don't actually have to play this or this. Most decks will be playing this and this, and some of them will be playing this. This searches these. So you just have another card that adds consistency to your deck. You can pitch these, you can pitch these. You have a lot more things that you can pitch with this. You don't need to specifically have a level 8 or specifically a stone. You can just kind of go Chaos Space, pick up one of these, and just keep playing. One of the things I liked about this deck and why I do usually play Cosmo Brain in this deck is because Chaos Space actually searches Cosmo Brain. So one of the things you can do in the deck is you can go Sage, pick up a Stone of Legend, Chaos Space, pitch that Stone of Legend, search Cosmo Brain, add the Blue Eyes, special the Cosmo Brain, and then go into either Spirit Dragon or, and this is, again, so the extra deck is also like kind of quote unquote standardized, but I'm kind of going to like, get to that when I get to that. And then you go into Chaos Ruler. So I don't usually play Crystal Wing, play Chaos Ruler. So Chaos Ruler is a level 8 that excavates 5 cards that allows you to go into your rank 8 plays that people like to play. So that's a thing that I like to play as well. But just in general, one of the things you'll notice about the cards that I am adding into the deck and replacing things with is that these are cards that are just kind of always live. I don't have to be in a specific game state to be able to activate a Bigfoot. I don't have to be in a specific game to activate Astro Karibo. I don't have to have a specific thing in hand. At any given point, I can just activate these cards most of the time. Chaos Space is kind of in the other category in that this is like an extender that you kind of have to be in a specific game state, but you're much less likely to have this be dead compared to like a Cards of Consonance or a Trade-In, because every monster in your deck can be pitched for Trade-In. For Chaos Space, not Trade-In. But yeah, let's kind of look at that. So we kind of have this put together. Another thing is like, playing an extender like Monster Reborn over something like Return of the Dragon Lords. This can revive, your dragons, but this can revive anything. That's kind of relevant sometimes, I'm not going to lie. Yes, you do get the benefit of this, like, having the protection, but a lot of times, like, you're just trying to keep playing because if you build your board, you're usually not going to need the protection. And then like another thing I want to talk about is, where is it? Skill Drain. So this is actually a very common card that is played in Blue Eyes deck, but I honestly don't think it should be, because the idea behind this card is that if you flip this up, you usually win the game. But here's the thing, this card doesn't actually synergize with the rest of the deck, because if you're trying to play a combo deck, why are you playing Floodgates in your deck, The Floodgate, yes, will probably stop your opponent from doing things, and yes, you can play under this particular Floodgate, but this doesn't actually help your deck do what you're trying to do with it, because that's another thing that I find people like running into, is that they aren't really building their deck the way they're trying to build it. Like, they don't know what they're doing with their deck. They'll try to like have everything in the deck. I'll see players who are having like, a bunch of hand traps, floodgates, the ritual stuff. Like, they're having a bunch of stuff in their Blue Eyes deck, and that starts leading to consistency issues because you're just kind of like trying to do everything. If you try to do everything, you end up with a deck that doesn't do anything consistently. So you want to have your deck and everything synergizing together so that everything is, working in unison. So yeah, that's why why I personally don't play Skill Drain in the combo decks. Now, if you're going to play like Floodgates in your Blue Eyes deck, build it to do that. Build a actual control Blue Eyes list, but don't just like throw random Floodgates into your combo deck, because that usually doesn't do anything. Most of the time what that's going to do is that, like, going first, yes, Skill Drain will probably win the game, but you want to know what else would do that? You doing your combo, Moving on to the extra deck. So standard Blue Eyes, you got 2 Spirit, Azure, Moonlight. This was Crystal Wing, So we kind of like skipped ahead, and then Vermilion, Cypher, the Cypher package, number 90, Hope Harbinger, Dingirsu, and the Draglubion package. These are pretty standard for the extra deck, but I'm going to just, kind of make adjustments for it and kind of go over what these cards are there to facilitate. So, Draglubion, this is here to enable a card like Numeron Dragon and Heart Earth Dragon in this deck. Now, what purpose do these cards actually serve? Numeron Dragon enables OTKs, right? But you know what else enables OTKs, but also doesn't like make your play very, very linear? Because that's one of the weaknesses of Draglubion, is that you only get to do one thing after you do that. If you go for the Numeron Dragon OTK and they like do literally anything, you kind of just pass turn because you can't do anything else, because Draglubion makes it so you can't special summon and you also can't attack with anything else, and that's something I don't like about the package. In regards to like OTKs, do you really need Draglubion to help you OTK in a deck full of monsters that are like 3k? Do you really need that? I personally don't think so. Vermilion Dragon Mech. Now this isn't necessarily bad, but it's just that personally I usually like to go for Croca Dragon because it serves the same role a lot of the time. It serves the same role, but this draws you a card and it is a quick effect pop. Whereas this one, can recur your banished tuners. So it's like they both have their value. They're both very good. They're both level 9 synchros. I would usually play either or, right? But it's just a matter of which one you think is, something you want to play. And also another good level 9 synchro that I find myself playing sometime is Shen Shen. Now this doesn't actually like do any removal, but it is a floodgate and it does like have that recursion. It's pretty good card. But yeah, so Crockett Dragon or Shen Shen. Moving on, so we have like the rank 8s. You'll notice that in a lot of my lists I don't actually play very many rank 8s because I feel as though a lot of the time there's another card that's more accessible that does the job better, basically. So removing those, we get down to these 3 rank 8s. The thing about these rank 8s, so let's look at these rank 8s. But obviously, like, this list would definitely play more rank 8s because it's a lot more rank 8 focused. But let's look at this list. So between these 3, which ones would I end up playing? It's usually just these 3. These are usually the rank 8s I am playing in my deck. But now let's continue on and look at some other stuff that you could be playing in this kind of deck. Obviously, there's the Chaos Creator, right? He helps recycle your resources from the banished pile. He's another level 8 extender that you can go into to help make your rank 8s. Honestly, maybe in this list you probably would play more rank 8s, but just for the sake of like learning about like card choices and card roles. That also applies to the extra deck. Hauki Fibrax. This is becoming a bit more standard, and I do appreciate that because people are understanding that this card just kind of says, get your stone directly from the deck if you have, a tuner on the board, which is pretty good. And yeah, another one that I feel is... So, the thing is, even if you're not playing the Selene line, even if you're not playing the Baron or things like that, I do think you should still be playing Hauk, because Hauki Fibrax just makes your deck so much more consistent, because suddenly any tuner plus any monster gets you this, and that gets you access to Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon. Oh my goodness. There we go. It gets you access to Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon, which is the card that you were trying to get to, because this is your +2. So let's just add some more stuff. So this is a card. So typically, I've seen a lot of people play this package. Hold up. All right, they'll play like this package. And the thing is, Chaos Space actually searches the ritual monsters, which is pretty funny. But even if you're not playing this, and I usually don't play this, I usually just play this to search this and have that like resource loop. But even if you're not playing the formula, this stuff is still really, really good because So what you can do is like, I mean, you still would play the formula. Hold up, formula synchron. So you still would play this because this allows you to kind of play on your opponent's turn, basically. Um, Basically, what it enables you to be able to do is that, like, if you have like the Hawk Spirit Dragon line, even if you're not going into Baron de Fleur, what you can do is that your Spirit Dragon, if you go into like Moonlight and like bounce something, right? The formula can turn that Moonlight that's been used and is going to blow up in the end phase and turn it into a Crockett Dragon and turn it into another disruption. If you're going to go into something like Stardust, hold up, Stardust, Spark Dragon. Where's Spark Dragon? Spark Dragon. Spark Dragon. So if you're going to tag out into a card like Stardust Spark Dragon, the formula can actually turn it into Satellite Warrior, which in this deck, if you do that play, pops 3 cards on your opponent's field and then goes up to 5,500, which is pretty strong, not gonna lie. So that's one of the reasons why it's just like Hauki Firebrax really does just kind of like add so much more to the deck in regard to its ceiling. But obviously, like this card is like, I think it's like $80 or something. Like it's wild how much this card has jumped up in price because I bought this card for $25. But let's say you cut all this, and you don't have that, you're not playing this, and you just play like more of the rank 8. You can definitely do that and just kind of play it like this. Where are you, Dictator? So Dictator, I will say, gets a lot worse if you're not playing like the Hawk lines and everything, but it's still a really good card. So the thing about this card is a hard once per turn. So the thing I like to do with hard once per turns is like to cut them down, you know, and kind of trim them down a bit. So stop it. Why does it keep doing that? Oh man. So let's assume, you know, we have like this kind of list. This is what it ends up looking like. Let's go ahead and do that. I really, hold up, I just have to, where's my, the blue eyes cards gotta be together. There we go. Where's Jet? Jet Dragon. Let's see. Well, in this kind of list, because we're playing combo, we don't need as many stones. Put that up there. This card's insane. And yeah, this is kind of like a list I've thrown together. Now, let's look at a similar hand to what we had earlier in regards to having, say, have the one starter and then like a bunch of extenders. Now, let's look at all of our extenders. So we've got 1, 2, 3. This is also extender, by the way, because you don't have to start with this. Right, so it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and also this actually because it does have the hand effect. I'm getting, let's see, blah blah blah, and then we have this and this. Okay, so let's actually put some stuff in our extra deck. Spirit Dragon, blah blah blah, and then we're just gonna like, for the sake of being friendly to budget players, I'm going to forego a lot of stuff. So Link Karibo. Dark, if you have this card, I highly recommend you get it. I mean, if you don't have it, I highly recommend you go get it. Similarly, I recommend go picking up Lina because you can go in Lina a lot in this deck. Because these cards just help you like link climb and everything like that. And where's the Cypher package? Because that's actually like pretty cheap. Oh yeah, this is a card that like I feel people should play more because it's just really really good. So Cypher, Cypher Blade, Cypher X, and full armor. There we go. So we've made a lot of changes to the list. Fundamentally, it still functions pretty much the same, but a lot of your card choices now are going to be live significantly more often. Yeah, you're going to be able to like use, let me just, how do I do this? Set as default. Right, these are going to be live significantly more often. And you're going to find yourself in a situation where this is dead just a lot less. So now we're going to go ahead and head into the duel room, hit solo mode, and then we're just going to kind of, you know, showcase some tests. Ah, my gosh, I was not ready for that sound effect. I really was not ready for that. So I'm gonna just go ahead and I have a very obvious play. So we're gonna. Well, I guess I could do that. Let's do some deck thinning, get a little greedy. Gonna normal this. This is a very greedy play. I probably shouldn't do this. Nah, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna keep that in our hand. Keep that in our hand. We're gonna start with the number 90 basically. We're gonna special this, right? Reveal our number 90, turn it into a level 8, and then we're just gonna go Thunderbird effect. I never really thought. Let's just. And where's the dice? So 1 through 4. Let's see what we hit. As long as we don't hit 2. Okay, we hit the jet. Special the Thunderbird. Draw 1 card. And we got a Bigfoot. Now the thing is, here we can actually just immediately go into the number 90. So number 90. Third summon number 90. What is Nib? And now we can just kind of keep playing because we have, dangers. That's super greedy, but I'm going to do it anyway. Whoo! We're so good. Hit that stone, special the Bigfoot. Draw 1 card, trigger the stone, add a blue eyes to our hand. Alrighty. Now actually I can go into Crocodragon here actually. Because I can normal the Veiler and seek off for Crocodragon, but I'm not going to do that because we are greedy. We're going to go Bigfoot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see what we roll. 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. 4. Okay, we hit the Veiler. That kind of sucks, but that actually really sucks. It's fine. We're gonna draw Sage. Oh, we drew another Bigfoot. I gotta do some thinking. I guess we can make the number 38 here. Yeah, we can make number 38 here, or we can make like Ding. Let's go for Bigfoot again. This is risky because if I roll 4 through 6, we just neg really, really hard. No! And that's it. So we're ending on 2 interruptions. We have the 38 plus this. And then we're just going to go ahead and start on over. But also, I just want to point out that, like, at no point could they have ashed us. Well, they could have ashed the Stone of Legend, but, like, Keck Dubs, imagine ashing that. Because, like, the thing about the dangers, like, they're not once per turn. So it's like, if you ash a danger, cool. Also, this hand's kind of insane. Oh, man, this hand's kind of cracked. So we have access to our Spirit Dragon almost immediately. Alrighty, we're going to pick up a Stone of Legend off of this Sage. We're going to special the Dictator by sending this Blue Eyes to grave for cost. Special. We're going to activate the Dictator. We're going to pitch this, and we're going to special that Blue Eyes. Then we're going to trigger that stone, and we're going to add another Blue Eyes. And then, well, this is the moment of truth. Can we get lucky and not hit a Bigfoot? This kind of sucks because I have 2 Bigfoots. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's hope we don't hit the Bigfoot. Reroll. No, we hit a Bigfoot. But it's fine because we have another one. Come on. Whew. Okay, we get the special the Bigfoot. That's the one thing about dangers is that adrenaline. Dang, we already did this. So the reason why I'm doing it this way is because I want to be able to make the number 90 to kind of like protect us. Not gonna lie, this is kind of cringe. Kind of cringe. You can make Spirit Dragon. You can make a rank 8. I'm not gonna lie. That Bigfoot really, really hurt. Oof, that hurt. Um, but yeah. All right. Now, that kind of I feel like I've been talking for long enough regarding this. So that just to give you guys just a basic idea of, just deck building in general, picking card choices. Is this how I would build this deck? Not really. You guys have seen what my builds look like, but this is more so just to like kind of talk about the idea of like playing extenders that are not solely extenders, right? Playing extenders that you can like that are both starters and extenders, because you can like activate these cards whenever. You're not like in a situation where if I go normal Sage and they ash you, you just kind of pass turn. It's just so much less likely that will happen because this, and this, they don't like require you to be like in a specific game state. Um, but yeah, that's gonna be it for now. This has been Darkslayer Arim from Haltesia Gaming. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys learned something. And go drink some water. Have a wonderful day.